Welcome to the Own Your Life podcast, where our goal is to help bring hope, healing, and peace by sharing our experiences and inspiring you to own your life.
Hey everybody, I want to let you know about an ebook that I wrote called Winning at All Costs. It tells about how earlier in my life, I chose to win at my career above all else and damage the relationships that I had in my life, including my relationship with my wife and my son. It also tells about how I've turned it all around and how I learned to focus on what I value most in my life. You can get your copy now at ownyourlifeco.com/ebooks and on amazon.com. You won't want to miss this opportunity. Check it out today. And remember, own your life because your life is your responsibility. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Own Your Life podcast. We have the one and only Cameron Crick back with us, aka my son, and we're going to talk a little bit about his college experience. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything to do with his first semester at college, and I'm going to let Ashley say a couple words here real quick, and then we're going to get it kicked off.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. So we are very excited to bring Cameron back, his first episode with us. And if you haven't listened to it, go back and check it out. I believe it is episode number 5. Check that out. That was one of our most listened to podcasts, and we got a ton of great feedback on it. So we thought while he's here with us during his winter break from college, that it'd be great to do another podcast with him and just kind of get an update, on his life and how everything's going for him.
Absolutely. So we're going to ask him a couple questions here to kind of get things rolling, and then we're really just going to have kind of a conversation. So I think most of the people are probably going to be interested in, how is school actually going with COVID, and what's that look like for you in your first semester at college?
First off, I'd like to say, wow, it's nice to see some unfamiliar faces here. That's very impressive. I'm not usually getting out that much nowadays. But yeah, it's been going pretty well so far. I'm one of the few lucky ones who actually got a chance to even get back on campus. So that's count my blessings on that one. And even though I wasn't completely in class, I at least got to have the majority of my classes be in class. So that's super nice too. But our online ones really wasn't that bad either. So that's super nice.
Yeah. Did you guys have some, I know that most of your generation is pretty tech savvy, so you guys probably got Zoom and everything like that, correct? Right. There wasn't any problems with that, or was there issues with that as well?
I actually didn't use Zoom that much before I got on campus. That was a little bit of a learning curve, but yeah, once I got used to it, it wasn't a problem at all.
Yeah. How about your classmates or anything like that? How about them?
They're about the same too. Some of them were a little bit less tech savvy than others because being all the way out in Kentucky and all that, some might not have the best internet connection. But yeah, it's overall seemed pretty well.
So with everything going on, I know that obviously you didn't get the full college experience, but so I guess in your eyes, how different is your college experience versus your high school experience? Because I know that's a bit of a shift, a little more freedom, a little more flexibility, I think. But how is that for you kind of transitioning from high school to college?
Well, high school and college are two obviously completely different worlds. You get all the freedom that you could ever really want, especially in your class selection and all that. But other than high school, college, you just get to do a lot more, You just get to go out, go see whatever you want, do all that. You got so much more freedom. But the classes and all that, at least starting out, really wasn't that different. They weren't really that difficult and all that stuff. Just getting acclimated to the college experience really wasn't that difficult.
That's awesome. So I love that you said that there's so much more freedom in being in college versus high school, which I totally agree. And if anybody's been to college, I'm sure they agree with that as well, especially on campus versus, a commuting college. And I guess with that, is there any way that you feel like you maybe are missing out on anything of the college experience? Because I know that Matt and I had just talked about this right before we started that, our perception is different because we had the college experience without all the COVID restrictions and everything, and you haven't experienced it that way. But do you feel like with what you are experiencing that maybe you're, missing out on anything or no?
Well, I mean, other than the obvious fun stuff that goes on weekends, it's not really that much of a surprise of what I was getting into. I mean, I'm happy with my experience so far. It's been all right. I mean, there's some aspects that obviously with what's going on, it's super annoying trying to get out of like actually experience like the normal college experience. But other than that, it's been all right. Not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from your perspective too, with, friends or teammates and stuff like that, how has the COVID experience kind of impacted your circle of friends and, teammates and stuff like that? How's that kind of affected them either mentally or emotionally, or has it affected them at all in any way, shape, or form?
Well, it really depends on their personality in general, because some have things affect them a lot harder than others. Like, I mean, personally, it wasn't a huge deal for me. I mean, it was obviously a shock at the beginning, but I mean, there's some times where I feel like, will this ever end or whatever? But other times I'm like, it's just a way of life now. You got to really adapt or you're not going to survive. But others have really been affected. Some of them have fallen into depression or whatever, and others have been thriving. I mean, they're still getting after it, even if they don't have the normal circumstances that we used to have.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's interesting. We actually just talked to Noble and Kathy last week. And, I guess for you, what has been one of the things that has kind of, what have you guys done as a community, I guess, because obviously, you guys are teammates or, friends or whatever. What have you guys done to pick each other up? If you saw one of your friends falling into depression, what have you guys done to kind of pull people out of that? Or have you guys tried to help, or, what does that look like for you guys? Because I think that's kind of an important question for a lot of people in this time.
We have a super great community, especially like on the baseball team too. Like, we really hold each other accountable a lot, but we also know when to actually tone it back and actually really start to connect a lot with each other. I mean, it's kind of a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little bit intimidating coming in as a freshman, because I was always the top dog at my school and all that, but going into here, you're really nothing compared to these guys. So, it's kind of a little bit intimidating. Like I said earlier, I was very much a top dog in my school and all that, but we really hold each other accountable a lot, but we definitely know like when someone truly needs help, especially since this being a Christian college too. We hold each other to a lot higher standards than other schools would in general. Yeah.
I think for me, I didn't realize, going into college and stuff like that, I was, I could perform at a pretty high level. And I think my first real interaction, the fact that I realized that I was at another level, is whenever it was my first college football game, and I went over, it was a play happened, and the play wasn't finished yet. I was going over to where the guy was, he went down, but they hadn't blown the whistle just yet. And I was running right over to the pile to kind of pick him up, and I got ear-holed. And I was laid on the ground after the guy just completely leveled me out. And I was like, I couldn't breathe. And I laid on the ground for at least 30 seconds. And I was like, I don't know if I can get up at this point. And that was like my welcome to the big show experience for me. And I'm sure you won't have that much of, with baseball, but you won't have that much of a experience, but you may get thrown out a couple times, I'm assuming, right?
Well, yeah, the first real big experience was getting when I was on the bump and someone just absolutely went yard off me. It wasn't my first time pitching, but it was my second time. But it still didn't feel very good because I did not do that very often. So you definitely got to know where your level at is for sure going into it, but you'll get there eventually. They all do, as long as you stick with it.
Did the guy do the major league talk to you? He's like, I think that could, have been the slow pitch, or was that like your off pitch, or was that your slider, or what was that? What can I rename that pitch you just threw to me? Did he do that to you, or is that just more like a thanks
Thanks for playing.
We all knew what happened and all that, and he's a cool dude. I mean, I still love the guy, but yeah, it definitely didn't feel good, but he didn't go that far.
No bat flip either?
No. Oh, man. You're going to ride some vine if you bat flip on that team. They do not play like that there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. They treat every team, no matter who they are, just about the same. So, I mean, even if you're playing like a little podunk school in the middle of Tennessee or whatever, they all treat them the exact same, no matter who they are.
That's awesome. And I think that was the one thing that really, talking to you through this first semester and knowing that type of community you're involved with, made me feel a lot better about your whole college experience. And, and you guys actually doing study halls and also Bible study too. I mean, how's that going for you? Because you said that you guys are more like family. So, I mean, obviously doing the Bible study weekly with your teammates and stuff like that. How's that going for you? And what type of experience has that been for you?
Oh, it's been super great. I mean, going into it, I really wasn't keen on the whole Bible study thing and all that. Like, I mean, I thought I knew what I really wanted, but I really didn't going into it. Just seeing these guys having these amazing lives, no matter who they were. I mean, just finding God and all that was great for them. Like, I mean, they all were completely open with sharing their stories and how much of a backstory it really was to it, and how it wasn't just like, boom, you found God and all that. Like, it was insane just going through that. I mean, the very first day, we were just sharing stories the entire time. And it was fantastic knowing how open they were with that experience and truly finding who they were as a person.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much into that. I mean, Ash has some amazing experiences with that. I have amazing experiences with that as well. And I think that everybody's experience and everybody's impact is at a totally different level. And it always depends on who you're talking to and what you've actually went through yourself and how you actually have that relationship now. And I know that you got a lot of stories to share with that as far as that's concerned.
Probably one of my favorite things that happened so far was that one of our team captains, who's like a fantastic dude, he is like completely one with God. It's amazing how great of a guy this is. But after one of my big pitching performances I did super well in, he took time out of his day just to even reach out to this one little small freshman and just tell him how good of a job he did. It was like, it really showed me how much that they really care.
I was also thinking, about your coaches. How are they leading you through, all of this and also displaying, their faith, going through all these unprecedented times? Because obviously they have coached and been with the players while everything was normal, if you want to call it that. And now it's obviously not. So I guess how have they done in leading you, through all of this?
They've really done a fantastic job. They haven't really skipped a beat from what I've heard, at least. But they're at least doing all that they can in the circumstances that they've been given. I mean, they're still holding everyone accountable no matter who you are. Like, that's not changed one bit, but they still just know like who to talk to in what way. Like, they're not going to speak to one guy the same as they do another just because of how different their personalities can be,
Mm-hmm.
Like, no matter who you are, they always find a way to at least attempt to really build a connection with you. And I love that about the school.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just by everything that you've kind of talked about with me on a side note and, just everything you've kind of talked about in this as well, is that, I mean, I don't know if you could have walked into a better situation with better leadership, because I think that just how you describe your captain and the Bible studies and the family environment that they've created and their ability to lead through this time is probably one of the more impressive things that I've heard through this whole COVID situation, really. I mean, and I know that you don't know any different as far as that's concerned, but obviously the level of coaching is completely different from high school to college as well. So, I mean, what's the difference that you've seen as far as leadership's concerned on the fact of your high school coach versus your college coaches? Because I think that's kind of a separator in itself to go to the next level, but also seeing the next level of leadership. What does that look like for you?
It's kind of a culture shock to say the least, but I mean, I just love how they just keep on being involved no matter what. Like they'll reach out any time of the day, just to like check up on you and stuff like that. I mean, just knowing that you have like that great support and all that is fantastic. I mean, I love my college. I mean, all my college coaches at that rate. Even my high school coach is a fantastic dude in his own right. And I just think that at the collegiate level, they just have so much more to work with and all that. And they really know how to really get their guys going and all that, since they're getting paid to do that 100%. Like that's their full-time job. So, I mean, you really got to invest all that you can just to make sure that you can keep those paychecks going, to say the least. But really, I just know how great of people that they are to begin with. So that really doesn't concern me at all. Like they've said multiple times, we're not here to get wins on the win column and all that. We're here to build men, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome that you say that, because I think that a lot of parents are worried about their kids that are in college right now, just because of things that we've seen, whether it's social media or on, the news or whatever, or hearing it from other parents or other people that are in college, of how bad their experiences are through all of this, or maybe not what they expected or what they, would have wanted. It's nice to hear that you're having a really good experience, and that I'm going to guess that you're not the only one that's actually feeling that way. And that maybe to put some parents at ease that the kids are actually having a better time than we think. Now I know a lot of people are struggling, and then depression and all of that is at a high, but I think that there are people like you, Cameron, that are making the best out of the situation, and you have nothing to compare it to, which is really an advantage for you, so that you're not, if you were a senior in college right now, I think it'd be a lot different. But since you're not, you don't really have anything to compare it to. And I know there's a lot of people in your shoes, and hopefully they're also having a good experience as well, and just realizing, this is the best that it can be at this time. And if it gets better, then awesome. But, with all of that, what is some advice that you would give to maybe other people in college or anyone's parents, just about more with the whole college experience and, just how difficult it can be, but really how their mindset should be through all of this?
First off, mostly for the parents, I would say, they're not children anymore. You really got to at least let them experience it their own way. Like you can't keep on that horrible mindset that you're going to keep on controlling them for the rest of their lives, because that's not the case at all. Like you really just got to at least let them go and experience their own way. No matter what way that is, they always find a way through. And for the students is definitely I know how much of a culture shock it can be. Time management is a huge essential piece of advice that I need to give you. You always got to keep on top of your work, because if you don't, it will eat you alive, and you might not last till the end of the semester or even the year. You just got to keep that going.
On the whole kid situation.
You're still a kid to us, Cam.
Well, the thing is that, there's so much within that is, it's hard for people, because there's so much within the fact of who you are as a person and, how you develop. The parents sometimes don't develop fast enough for your relationship. And that's hard for them to let go of. For you, I think that it's been easier for me to see you grow and let go a little bit, has been the fact of our relationship and how we've developed that through our communication. So, it was easier for me to let go. And plus I knew that talking to your college coach as much as what I did before you even went made it a little easier too, because I knew that he was a good dude. And he said that whenever you went there, you would be like another son to him. So I think that that's the main thing, is I knew you're going to a family environment. So which made me feel a whole lot better about the whole scenario as far as that's concerned. And I think that there is so much value in the time management piece that you just gave. What is the time management that you do to stay on top of everything you have to do? Because I know that you have baseball, you have study hall, you have Bible study, you have all this extra stuff going on around, just not school. So what's your biggest piece of time management that you've learned going into college as far as that's concerned?
The first thing that I did is definitely set up a planner. Like, even our school provided one for us and all that. Like, our baseball team did another one too, so I use that one as my main source. But definitely use a planner. Build your schedule up, set time aside to do whatever you want, but always make sure to keep upon the schedule. That is the best thing that I could provide you. Keep a planner and keep on going with that, and then it would all just come naturally after that. By the end of the semester, I didn't even need anything. Like, I knew my schedule down to the T.
That's awesome. And I feel like some adults need to do that as well. That's good advice for all of us. So I know that when I was in college, it was the same. Like, I used a planner because, I mean, if you have a lot of things going on like you do, because you're also an athlete, not just a student, that you could miss something because there is a lot going on. There's a lot to do. And it depends, how many classes are you taking and, what kind of course load do you have? So I think that's important just to make sure you can see everything that you need to do and organize it in a way that's really going to set you up for success in the future. Because if you carry those skills onto your adulthood, you're going to be putting yourself in a really good spot.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that for me, I feel like just talking to you over the course of the semester, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and you usually do. And I'm excited about that because I'm excited for that crucial conversation that we get to have, and how you get to tell me I'm old. And I'm super excited about all that.
You're pretty old.
And I think that for me, I want to know from your standpoint of, I saw how you've grown this year. How do you think you've grown this year from a standpoint of your leadership skills, from your maybe even wisdom, and how has it been that you've grown in baseball too? Because I think I think all of those are probably going to across whatever you've grown in. I think it's going to encompass all three of them. But if it's separate out, that's fine too. But I just want to kind of ask you that one question, just because I feel like it's important to see your self-assessment of yourself, and then I'll give you feedback on what I've seen.
So I think the biggest thing is just that it's a very humbling experience, to say the least. Like, going in, you always think that you're all that, but it quickly just comes to bite you if you're like that. But I mean, definitely the humbling part is a big key factor of what I've been going through over the course of the semester. And also just definitely the social aspect too. I mean, going into it, I was very, very, very introverted. Like, I did not like talking that much. And really, I'm still working on that a lot to this day. But I mean, I'm getting better. And that's all you got to look at it is, if you keep on seeing like all your top goals and all that, you'll be so distraught on how little you think you've went. But if you just set little goals over the course of your time, you will see how big of a growth jump that you've had. Definitely, that's my two biggest key factors of what I've went through in the semester.
I completely agree with the humble pie that you've been served, sir. I've said from the get-go is that I've always told you from Jump Street since you were probably 9 years old. I said, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve because you're so stinking talented. You're your biggest enemy. I've always told that to you. And I feel like you're starting to tackle your own side of your own enemy and starting to become a team with yourself. And I think that was the biggest thing for me but I think you needed to get served that humble pie a little bit. And get whooped up on a little bit and taken yard.
Oh, I got a story about that one too, but continue.
And, I feel like you've always been able to really come out on top. And I feel like you're starting your climb right now. And I feel like that's the biggest thing for me is I feel like you're finally on your journey to becoming who you need to become for yourself, not for anybody else, for you.
And going back on that story, it was right before our Fall Ball World Series, which is a big thing in our community for the baseball team for sure. is that we were going through and playing some scrimmages, just buffing out those kinks and all that stuff before we play. And I was on the mound. I was supposed to be starting that game. And just going into it, I was terrible. Like, it was bad. I could not throw a strike to save my life. Walking guys constantly, which is the worst thing you can try and do as a college pitcher, trying to get some innings, especially a freshman at that rate. With all these other talented dudes out there, you need to throw strikes. That's literally all that you have to do. Just put the ball in the strike zone, and that's all you got to do. Couldn't even do that. So it was awful, to say the least. It was the most humbling experience of my life going into that moment. It was awful. And I was thinking about that for like a week straight until the Fall Ball World Series. I was asking whoever I could, what do I need to work on? Because I need it. I need it bad if I want to make it through this season. I asked my coaches, I asked my other teammates, all that stuff, and I got great feedback. And going into that Fall Ball World Series, I started the third game, and it was one of my best pitching performances I've ever had. I had no earned runs through a few innings and had a couple strikeouts in that rate and only one walk compared to like the 20 or so walks I had that day. It obviously wasn't that high, but it was a pretty substantial amount for only throwing 3 innings.
Yeah, I know that you called me like immediately afterwards and you're like, I don't even know what just happened. And I was like, did you black out or what happened? And you're like, I don't even know. I'm just so upset right now. I have no idea what happened. I was like, well, the good news is that you'll have another game, you'll have another opportunity, and you'll be able to tackle that at a later date. So, but I mean, I feel like we've had a long journey with this baseball stuff. And the one thing I can say is that I'm super proud of you. I'm really proud of you in the fact of that you stuck it out and chased down your dream and to play college ball, because so many of your friends gave up. That we played travel baseball with for years, and so many of them gave up on their dream. And I'm so super proud of you for not giving up on your dream, but also becoming the man that you are right now, because I think the man that you are right now is amazing. And I think that you're going to do amazing things. And I think that everybody is super excited for you and for everything that's coming for you and to you down this journey.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's another thing that especially kids my age, need to hear, is just how much their parents really support them and all that, Like, that's huge for them. If they can know that, they'll be so much better off, Yeah. So that's another thing for the parents too, is just make sure you at least reach out and just tell them how much you support them and all that, because you don't really know how much that really means, for sure.
Yeah, that's so important. And we, like Matt said, we're so proud of you, Cameron, just watching you grow up through all of the baseball things and just life. And we really appreciate you being on our podcast again and just sharing insight and hopefully giving some parents and some more students some hope out there that it might not be as bad as we think it is. And even if it isn't the greatest, that we can always make it better. So if people are wanting to follow you on your baseball journey and college journey, where can they find you on social media?
My Instagram is at C9Crick _C9Crick, and also my Twitter at Crick9Crick, capital C RICK 9, capital C RICK. And that's about it, really. I mean, I don't really have any other social media to worry about. Well,
that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, we just got a couple, but thank you so much again. We really appreciate you being here. And if you like this message, please share, subscribe, rate, and review us. And until next time, own your life, because your life is your responsibility. Thank you all for listening. If this added value to you, please click subscribe and rate and review us. You can also find us at Own Your Life Co. on Instagram and Facebook, and ownyourlifeco.com. And as always, own your life, because your life is your responsibility.